Now welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
This is the season finale of Ahsoka this week.
It is.
It's kind of sad and exciting.
It is. It's always that bittersweet last episode.
Yeah, we have
you're
the...
like, yay, it's going to be the finale. We're going to get answers, maybe. And
do you want some more bittersweet?
I want some more good. How about that?
How about that we know the runtime?
I have heard this, yes.
Overall, from start pushing play till the end of the credits, it's 49 minutes.
Okay, which means significantly less actual episode.
After you cut off the intro, we're down to 46 minutes, 25 seconds. And when you cut off the credits, the overall runtime is 42 minutes, 43 seconds.
So does that mean we have a post-credit scene, maybe?
I don't know.
Can we kind of extrapolate from how long the credits usually last?
Well, the credits usually last, like 3-4 minutes?
Yeah.
Which seems about accurate. Then there's always the intro recap and the little stuff they play at the very beginning. I feel like if we get a post-credit, it's going to be short.
Well, they're not usually long, but they tend to be like a minute or two sometimes, right? I mean, the Andor one was pretty short, though. Some of the other ones have been slightly longer, like Boba Fett in Mando Season 2 was a little longer-ish. Minute and a half, I don't know.
Something like that, but either way, that is the runtime we can expect. A sad 42-minute episode.
42 minutes for this
It's not
finale.
enough. It's not enough.
I don't even need to see it to know that.
With as many things should be wrapped up, or we would like to have answers to, it doesn't feel like nearly enough time. Especially when they can take one whole episode, and looking at you, episode 7, of Ahsoka reuniting with the other two, taking the full runtime.
Yes.
Because that's all that was accomplished.
Some good action, though. But
I
feel like we got a lot to cover, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of action in this episode.
I'm going to say we're still owed quite a bit of action, I believe.
Yeah. We're not going to get a lot of answers.
No.
At all.
No.
I think
the mystery box is staying shut.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans are going to be, I don't want to say disappointed with the finale, but they're going to be left wanting more, and not necessarily in the good way, where you're like, oh, that was so good, I can't wait to get more because I got just enough of the answers I'm looking for. This is going to be like, I feel like you needed to do more.
Right, which is a double-edged sword, because if for some reason Disney does not greenlight going forward, it means this is a dead story.
I don't think it's going to be a dead story as much as it might be kind of Rangers of the New Republic did, which is not a word, but you see where I'm going with this, where you might get tidbits of it elsewhere. Like Mando Season 4 could be heavily impacted by no Season 2 of Ahsoka.
Not
just like Rangers of the New Republic kind of barged its way into The Mandalorian Season 3, we think.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to, we've been following the Samba numbers on this channel.
One final note on that, though. I do want to say, I'm not trying to predict we're not going to like it because it's too short. Don't get me wrong. It feels like there's a lot that needs to happen, right?
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. So I'm not closing the book on it and saying this is going to be a disappointment. So we'll see what it is, but right now that feels really short.
All right, as I was saying, we've been tracking the Samba TV numbers on this channel. It includes only streaming programs, not anything on cable or anything like that. The episode 5 premiere put Ahsoka at number 3, below Elemental and Virgin River. So the episode 6 numbers are in, and Ahsoka went up a number. It is now at the number 2 spot.
Does that have anything to do with the return of one Anakin Skywalker, played by a certain Hayden Christensen?
Well, that was the week prior to this,
but
I believe it could have.
Do you think that that was all over the internet. I was
Absolutely,
looking at,
it was everywhere. I think that definitely would bring people to the show.
You could look up stamp collecting, and it's like, hey, by the way, did you see Anakin? And I know a lot of stamp collectors out there. So, but my point is, it was just kind of everywhere. Everybody was kind of talking about that ish.
It was a big deal.
So I wonder if that kind of brought people in.
Yes, but we'll see how it's doing in the upcoming weeks, because this is the numbers game we've been following is Samba.
Yeah, Samba. We've been looking at the Nielsen ratings too, which have been kind of interesting.
They've been different, very different.
Disney itself came out and said it was one of their biggest premieres, but they didn't really give a time frame. They just said biggest premiere. Did you mean this week? Did you mean
it's
ever?
It's hard to say.
Did you mean for characters named Ahsoka, or what did you mean? So
yeah, but
they didn't. They left it intentionally vague when they announced those.
Yeah, and Samba is only looking at streaming programs, nothing else.
Yeah.
It can't get beat out by cable shows.
Or Monday Night Football. Sunday Night Football, whatever one. Yeah, Sunday Night.
Now that the hype is dying down from One Piece, it fell to number 7. When the week prior, it was sitting at number 6. So it hit its hype, now it's going down. Because Netflix does that, because it releases everything in waves, it gets a huge surge of attention, people watch it, and it dies down. Ahsoka being released week by week means it can try to retain a high spot.
I do think Netflix has been smarter by at least breaking it up into sections sometimes now.
Yeah, they've been doing that. And I also like it because the spoiler factor.
Yeah.
If I don't have time to binge watch all of Stranger Things, which is a long show to watch in the first place, not a criticism, I like that they're going to release the last 2 episodes like a month later, so I feel like I have time to catch up before I'm like, okay, I gotta catch up. I gotta watch everything before everyone tells me what the ending is.
Because the spoilers will be out literally the same day. There will be people who sit down and watch it all, and they kind of take some joy or enjoyment in spoiling
Crushing
things.
it for everybody else, yeah.
And Stranger Things, I mean, talking about runtime, Stranger Things Season 4's runtimes were like movies per episode. There were some hefty runtimes.
And I didn't mind that.
No, I don't necessarily mind longer. If you can fill that time well.
Yes, if the time is managed well, go for it.
Certainly.
If it's going to feel slow and feel like filler, then I'm not as thrilled. I mean, they kind of cut the episodes up almost perfectly. Some were longer, some were shorter, but they felt full.
They felt right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel, going back to what we were talking about at the top, I feel like you could inject a little more into the Ahsoka series at times. Mm-hmm. Not trying to pad runtime, but actually relevant, good information that I think fans would really sink their teeth into. I think we're just missing that sometimes.
All right. Before I get into the next piece, just a reminder, anyone who left comments on yesterday's video about what we think the season finale is going to be like, the video we're putting up Tuesday, mere hours before the finale.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yes, we'll showcase some of those comments. We're going to talk about theories that you guys have. Share them with the whole community. It's kind of like a fun game, though. Everyone will know if you're right or wrong.
Yeah, putting it out there now, whether you like it or not.
Throwing it down. I already saw some really, really great ideas.
Is it going to be one of those where the ideas are so good that you're like, damn, that's a good idea. Why won't they do that?
Well, anything that involves Ahsoka's death won't happen because Dave, he can't do it.
Yeah. Not that fan theories ruin it. We've discussed this a lot before about, fan theories and do we get our hopes up too high for things? And to a degree, yes, but they should still deliver, right? It's one of those things where, like, well, if the fans are putting some really good ideas out there and your idea doesn't deliver, like, is it really the fans' fault? But then again, also the fans don't have the problem of trying to line things up with what your plans are down the road. They're more thinking, like, in the moment it would be amazing if Starkiller comes out, decapitates Thrawn, but Thrawn's actually a robot, and the real Thrawn was in the caskets the whole time, and he pops out and goes, ta-da!
And then he rips off his face mask, and it's Moff Gideon!
Dun, dun, dun. The real Moff Gideon wasn't...
Thrawn's been back the whole time.
Thrawn was Moff Gideon, but he made Moff Gideon look like an idiot. That's why he came up with this elaborate plan to clone himself, even though he was Thrawn.
You're done. We're stopping this train of thought.
He was trying to show the Imperial Council, look, Gideon's a fool. He was just trying to do clones. I'm awesome, but I'm in another... No, I'm done. I'm sorry.
Thank you, because I'd like to move on to something with substance and not your...
That was
I don't even know.
Deep.
All right, we did promise to kind of talk about the strike a little bit, the writer's strike, which has ended, and there's some announcements about what the agreements were. They now have a 3-year contract with Hollywood studios that includes increased payment for the writers, length of employment, size of staff, protections against AI, and refined residual payments from streaming services, ensuring protection and stability in their careers.
Sounds like a Palpatine speech.
It's 3 years they're locked into this, so no strike for 3 years.
So we get shows for 3 years until they realize still wasn't good, or AI is now ready to take over.
I was kind of happy about the residual payments because it's going to be based on the popularity of streaming shows.
I don't see. Look,
so writers are going to get bonuses for making really popular shows.
Here's the issue with that.
I get bonuses at work if I do a really good job.
That's a little different, though. Well, here's my problem. Like, you're creating something and then putting it out there. Like, the studio is already kind of giving you the money for that work. It's like saying, if you make a house, right? If I help build a house and years down the road it increases in value, which houses almost inevitably do, like, should I see a little bit of that because I made a really good house 10 years ago?
Yeah, with streaming popularity, things come in surges. Usually you know right away if something's popular.
Well, sure, but you get my point.
Because there's always a bigger fish. The new thing is coming. You're not staying in the spotlight.
I'm not necessarily on the side of the studio as much as I realize that's kind of a slippery slope, right? Because that's like, if I make something really good, I want to be compensated. But if what I make actually flops and costs you money, I don't have any responsibility. So
right, but the residuals will help cover that because you get paid more if it's doing well. If it flops, you're not getting anything extra out of the residuals.
Yeah, but you understand what I'm saying. Well, they're still taking the hit. Like, if going back to the house analogy, like if I make a house and I know houses again aren't like entertainment. It's a bad analogy, but you get where I'm coming from. Like, if you create something like a house and it stands the test of time, you don't get compensated. But if it blows down in the wind tomorrow, you're certainly on the hook for that house. And it's like the creator isn't actually on the hook for the failure of what they're creating. Which is an interesting, I think that's an interesting dynamic there.
Well, it's true
Again, I'm
for
not
all
on
of
the side
that
of the
career, though. The
studios.
actors aren't at fault really either. They don't have any fault.
that's
They
what I'm
got
saying.
paid. They did a job, and if something isn't right, that's...
All I'm saying is the studios do take most of the risk. So if something
do.
is really successful, shouldn't they reap the rewards? Is that not an argument to be made?
I think they're still going to reap the rewards. They're just giving a little extra to the people who helped them along the way.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
Right.
I'm certainly, it's a different scenario. It's not building houses. I'm just trying
Mm-hmm.
to point out it is interesting to think that if it does really well, yeah, the writers, they get a kickback. But if it doesn't, it's not like the studio knocks on their door and says, hey, our kickback is needed. Anyway,
Right.
let's move on.
Right. Also, the Screen Actors Guild announced that strike negotiations with studios resumes today. Because now that the writers are done, the actors' negotiation will begin. I mean, this might be a really quick negotiation. They might be like, okay, the studios knew what they were doing with them. They kind of can arrange something similar with the actors. Bada bing, bada boom, and we have an agreement.
You were
which
right
would
about
be
one
lovely.
thing. The negotiations were short.
But now that negotiations can be underway with the actors, we can start getting back on track. It's time for New This Week in Star Wars, etc. Tuesday, we have Ahsoka... Come on. Can we just move on? Tuesday is Ahsoka, Episode 8, the season finale.
Yay.
Wednesday, for comic books, we have Bounty Hunters 39, Darth Vader 39, High Republic Shadows of Starlight, number 1.
Ooh, that's phase
this
3
is
begins.
phase 3. They're going
Yep.
to finally give us the outcome of who survived the Starlight Beacon.
I know some of them, they already spoiled it.
They already spoiled at least one that I knew.
Yeah.
And we're also moving Ahsoka voice chat to Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Central Time, because I feel like this is going to really want to be discussed. And there's another reason. We'll get to it in a second.
Just tell them now.
No, I haven't moved on to...
Well, part of the reason is this. It's exciting to get to it quicker.
Right.
But also Thursday at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock Eastern is Loki begins, Season 2.
Season 2, Episode 1 of Loki.
Yeah.
Which we will be covering on this channel because we like to cover Marvel.
We do from
We do.
time to time.
I'm still sad that Kraven the Hunter got moved back.
I
mean,
am
it was
so
Kraven
sad about
time.
that. I'm so terribly sad
No,
that
this
I had
it's
forgotten
one
all
of those
about
ones
it
that looks
until
so
right now.
bad that I was going to love the heck
It's
out
the
of it.
Morbiverse.
It's the Morbiverse.
It's so bad that it's good stuff. Anyway, I think that is going to be all we got for you this time. Now it's your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us what you think of any and all of today's news. Are you looking forward to that finale of Ahsoka? And there will be a video to go into your theories tomorrow. But whatever the case may be, leave your comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.